you. This is Don Jorge El Alacran. And today's Tuesday, the 13th of May. And it was Mother's Day last week. So happy belated Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And I hope you had a great, great Mother's Day. Trump is in the far, out there in, he's out there in the...
He's overseas.
Is he overseas?
He's out.
Well, I think he's in Saudi Arabia right now.
And Saudi Arabia, then he's going to Qatar and UAE. I just want to mention one thing. This week, we're starting to get out the vote, our LD, and probably Cheryl's LD. We're knocking on doors, trying to get people to register. If they haven't registered to vote, to register to vote. We're starting early because the Dems have started early. So we just be prepared. You may get a knock on your door. So thank you for listening. Now I'm going to turn it over to Cheryl.
Hi, I am Cheryl Rosado. I'm the George's co-host here at Chips and Salsa. And I'm super excited. Like you said, it's May. We just had Mother's Day where the weather's getting awfully warm. Although I will say, despite what other people on this panel may think, it is too cold to swim outside right now.
Oh, no, it's not. It's like 100 degrees outside, Cheryl. Come on. So her son's birthday is coming up on Saturday, and he wants to take a swim in the pool. And I know Cheryl has her own pool in her backyard and everything, but I was like, come on. Give your son a chance to take a dip in the pool on his birthday.
The kids went swimming on Mother's Day, and they were literally out there like 10 minutes. It's just too
Well, she's going to take him to the zoo, I believe, the Phoenix Zoo, right? So that's a nice...
yes, we're going to be bringing it in at the Phoenix Zoo and at H Mart.
I just want to say Cheryl's, I believe, oldest daughter, Ariana, has made the salsa for the Chips and Salsa show, and I want to thank Ariana, who is also a MAGA person, a MAGA meaning Make America Great Again. You know, the Democrats are like, oh, MAGA is not a good word, like crooked Joe Biden and dumb as a rock Kamala. They're like, MAGA is not a he and I said, MAGA is Make America Great Again. Like,
okay, let's introduce you first. Cheryl, you want to introduce our guest?
Yes, our guest is Gary Barve, and he is... a Scottsdale resident now. So
that is right.
He's here. He's local in Arizona. And he has some big news in case you've never heard of him. If you don't know him, what are you planning to do in 2028?
All right. Well, let me thanks, Cheryl. Appreciate it. First of all, thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, George, for giving me the honor and opportunity to be a guest with your awesome Chips and Salsa show. I know I met Cheryl at the America Fest event, AmFest, in December 2020. And I'm very happy to get the honor and opportunity to interview with you both. My name is Gary Barve. I am a huge supporter of our President Donald J. Trump, a proud Republican of the Republican Party that belongs to our President Donald J. Trump, and I'm officially running for President of the United States of America in the 2028 election to help President Trump make America great again, keep America great, and to help him save America. And I'm running because I love President Trump. I love our country, the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. And I love our great American people, and I want to help President Trump make America great again. That's why I'm running. And I just want to say this, Cheryl and George, I respect all religions, but I'm Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. I believe the Bible is the Word of God. And I genuinely believe that Jesus Christ is with President Trump. Jesus Christ is with our country, the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. And Jesus Christ is with you, our great American people. And I will say it, Jesus Christ is with me, and we're going to save America as Republican supporters of President Trump. And, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have during this interview, Mr. George and Cheryl as well. And, I just want to quickly say a couple of things. Under President Trump's leadership, we have had a tremendous start to his administration. Hundreds of executive orders signed. I think he signed like 100 executive orders in like the first week. Tremendous start to his administration. The southern border is so much more secure now than it was under dumb as a rock Kamala and crooked Joe Biden's horrific Democrat elected officials. Like, it was in a really bad state. 20 million illegal immigrants crossed across the southern border into our great United States of America illegally. And there are these gangs that came into our country, right? I don't know if you've heard of this gang, TREN de ARAGUA, they call themselves, TREN de ARAGUA. And the first thing I said to myself when I heard of this gang, TREN de ARAGUA, was, what a stupid name for a gang, right? Who calls themselves TREN de ARAGUA? It's a Venezuelan gang. And they literally took over a complete building in Colorado recently. There's another gang, MS-13. These are bad people. They literally cut people up just for fun. And so, my direct message right now to any gang members that might be listening into this awesome Chips and Salsa show, my direct message to the gang members is get the hell out of our great United States of America. If you don't, we will incarcerate members of your gangs, or we will kick out of our country members of your gangs. Cheryl and George, I'm ready to take a bullet for you. I'm ready to take a bullet for our American people because I want to keep our great American people safe and secure. And, I genuinely believe this, Cheryl. I genuinely believe this, George. Police, sheriffs, ICE, military, veterans, firefighters, first responders in America, they're great people. Most of them, they're tremendous, great people who run towards danger to protect civilians and residents they do not even know. And I believe this is bravery and courage of the highest level. And I will say this, the law and order in our country, law enforcement in our country, is the very fabric that holds our country together and makes us the greatest country in the world, along with American exceptionalism and a lot of other things that makes us the greatest country in the world. And I will say this, America is and will always be the greatest country in the world.
You were born in New Jersey, correct?
Yes, sir.
And they still have these floppy disk over there that the airport does?
No.
And,
no one has those.
and
Now, where did you get that, George?
Time machine.
archives. But
well, let me ask you, George, how old do you think I am?
you're in your 40s, I believe you said.
Yes, sir. I was born in
And I think
1984. I'm
and
40
I think
years
they've
old.
had them since the 40s. I think it's 80 years they've had these. Some kids don't even know what these are. These
There's
are
no
called
way my
floppy
kids
disks.
would know
Floppy
what that
disks.
is.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
called floppy disks.
And that's an actual floppy. Like
And
they
that's
called
a-
other ones floppy disks
And
too.
then the
later.
other one, the smaller one, this one here, is a little bit harder, but still.
Yeah, they called
that's-
those floppies
they
too.
call
But
these
Now
floppy
remind me,
disks.
the
remind me
original
about
floppy
this,
disk.
George. The first disc, the floppy disk,
Uh-huh.
came before the smaller disc, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Oh,
Isn't
yeah.
that right?
Yeah, that was the
it
first
was
one.
actually floppy.
They even
That's how
use
you
it
know.
in the silos. But anyway.
So is that what you carry around with you, George? Or
My computer still uses. I'm 73. My computer still uses the floppy disk.
I believe it.
So anyway, you were born in New Jersey in 1984,
yes, sir.
and you grew up in United States of America, but then your family relocated to India until you graduated from what, high school or college or something.
Well, that's partially correct. So, like I said, I was born in Summit, New Jersey in 1984, so I'm 40 years old. And, I would have loved to grow up in my country and your country
yeah.
and our country, the United States of America. But my family relocated to India when I was about 4.5 years old.
Okay, 4.5. Okay.
And so, at 4.5 years old, I said this on, I think, the Jeff and Bill show recently. I said, at 4.5 years old, you don't really have a say in these decisions. And so,
nope, you don't.
yeah, so my family relocated to India when I was about 4.5 years old, and then I came back home to Massachusetts where I was working right after my undergrad.
Yep.
And then I relocated to Dallas, Texas to pursue my full-time MBA at SMU. And
So did you go to university in Massachusetts, or had you finished before you came?
the undergrad I finished prior, and then I relocated to Massachusetts. I was
Okay.
working in sort of the business analysis role in the financial technology sector. And, then I relocated to Dallas, Texas, went to SMU and, for my master's in business administration in entrepreneurial strategy and marketing. And, it was during the final stages of my MBA course that tragedy struck my life. And I was diagnosed with a clinical depression-related illness right at the final stages of my MBA course. And, even with the clinical depression-related illness diagnosis, I completed my MBA. And, it taught me a lot. I struggled and battled with this clinical depression-related illness for many years. I just want to say this. I have now made a complete recovery from my battle with clinical depression-related illness. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And,
that's
I want
really
to thank...
relatable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for giving me the ability to conquer this really horrific illness, and I want to thank my mom and my dad. I want to thank the medical staff and my friends, again, for giving me the ability to conquer this really horrific illness. I mean, I said this, George, on one of my previous interviews. I said I would not wish this horrific clinical depression-related illness on my worst enemy. But then I said, maybe on some corrupt Democrat elected officials, I might do that. And, I'm a nice guy, but, these people were destroying our country. Kamala,
Purposefully.
Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, she's a far-left socialist Democrat. Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, crooked Joe Biden, all these people, Pritzker and all these people who are considering running against me in the 2028 presidential election cycle, Gavin, Newscum, these are bad people. These are bad people who I think, really, I'll say, they hate our country. And so, I think these people we're going to have to defeat and defeat them very strongly.
Okay, so you ran back to your history. You ran in California for city council. How was that running in California? Because everybody knows California is all Democrat, and for you to run in city council in California must have been really tough.
There's pockets of red in there.
Well, I was just going to say, I wouldn't say I would not say California is all Democrat at all, because President Trump won the California, if I'm not mistaken, the Republican primary election in California, a landslide. And so, I think I've got, like I said, I want to obviously win Iowa. I want to win New Hampshire, South Carolina, Nevada, and I want to win all 50 states in the primary phase of the presidential election in 2028. So no doubt about that. But no, I think you're right. It's more liberal than some of the other states in America, right? California is a little bit more liberal, a lot more liberal, I would say, than some of the other states in America. But, coming back to your question, George, the 2020 election, I ran for city council in Santa Clara,
and you
California.
got a good percentage by what I see.
I ran as the biggest supporter of President Trump. And
what year was that?
That was 2020.
Okay.
City Council, Santa Clara, District 6. And I wore a red Make Santa Clara Great hat during that campaign. No, it was given to me by the former vice chair of the California Republican Party. And he actually gave me 2 hats. And I actually say that, write about it in my book. It's like a little bit of a plug, right? But
sure, go ahead.
I've written a book. Believe it or not, Cheryl, I never in my life thought I would write a book. But I wrote a book. It's titled One Nation Under God. And it's got me wearing the Trump hat, red Trump hat with the U.S. flag. And, I've tried to replicate this look that President Trump has. He has that look. He calls it the tough as nails look. And I've tried to replicate that in the photo session. I think it's come out pretty well. It's on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Barnes & Noble ebook and paperback as well. And, I talk about this in the book, that the former vice chair of the California Republican Party, he gave me those 2 hats. It said, Make Santa Clara Great. And, we had a tremendous campaign. We got 23% of the vote, like you were saying, George.
And only have 17% Republican.
For my memory, I think there were about 17% Republicans in the district that I was running in. And,
so that's
we had
good.
a tremendous result. Yes, sir. And there was no real way to win that election. It was a 3-person election, a 3-person race. And 23%, I thought that was, I think it surpassed a lot of expectations.
Oh, that's great. I mean,
yes, sir.
And then you went to Virginia, and you went to school in university in Virginia, right?
I went to Liberty University. I relocated to Lynchburg, Virginia, and I went to Liberty University, which, as you know, I'm sure is a Christian school. And I actually got baptized at Thomas Road Baptist Church in Lynchburg. And I think I did not graduate from Liberty University, but I completed 1 course there. And then I relocated to Florida.
Yep.
And ran for U.S. Congress in the 23rd District. Yes, Cheryl, I ran for U.S. Congress in the 23rd District, again, as a Republican supporter of the greatest and the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. And, what a campaign, right? I'm talking about President Trump's 2024 win against dumb as a rock Kamala. He won all 7 battleground states. No, it's real. It's real. He won all 7 battleground states, one after the other. And I'm going to give some context because I don't want people to ever forget this. When President Trump announced November 15th, 2022, he announced from Mar-a-Lago, I believe, that he's running for president in the 2024 election cycle. There were no indictments against him at that time. President Trump announced, and there was indictment 1, indictment 2, indictment 3, and indictment 4 against President Trump because of the political weaponization of the Department of Justice by the corrupt Joe Biden, Kamala Harris Democrat Party. And, he fought that, and he fought that in a tremendous way. And I said this a long time back. I said, President Trump is a big Christian. Jesus Christ is with President Trump. He's going to win the election, and he's going to save America. And while we're on the topic of the politically weaponized indictments against President Trump, I have a direct message for Letitia James. Big Tish, I call her, right? And I made a video about this on social media, and it's got quite a lot of views already. And so I said, because she was at the courtroom, she was really like a horrible person against President Trump, weaponizing the Department of Justice against President Trump. And so I said in the video, I said, my direct message to Big Tish or Letitia James is very simple and straightforward. When you address the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, remember this, he is Mr. President to you. And that's all I want to say about that. But, after that, we had 2 horrific assassination attempts against President Trump. And, the first assassination attempt, like 1/8 of an inch here and there, it could have been like a even more awful day than it was. And I want to share a quick story with you, if that's okay. I was in Florida on July 13, 2024, when the horrific assassination attempt against President Trump happened. And, I was a candidate for U.S. Congress at that time, running as a Republican supporter of President Trump. And, there was a candidate for sheriff at that event, and he's the one who broke the news to me in Florida. He said, Gary, President Trump has just been shot. And I was devastated because I love President Trump. But even in that moment of devastation, I said to the candidate for sheriff, I said, but President Trump is okay, right? Nothing can happen to him, because I genuinely believe that Jesus Christ is with him. And so I went on stage. This is like literally an hour and a half after the horrific assassination attempt happened. I went on stage. It was a Vietnamese Make America Great Again event. And there were probably, I would say, about 250 great American people at that event. And I said the following 3 things at that event. It's documented. It's on my campaign website with the timestamp. It's on the campaign social media, this video. I said, first, to show my love, support, and solidarity with President Trump, I said the following 3 things. First, my direct message to the criminals and the gangs and the cartels such as MS-13, to the drug dealers, to the drug smugglers, and the human traffickers is this. Your brutal reign of terror in our great United States of America will come to an end on November 5th, 2024, when President Donald J. Trump will win the election, and we will once again shut down the southern border. We will build a wall. We will stop catch and release. We will stop asylum fraud, and we will designate all foreign cartels in our country as foreign terrorist organizations, and we will choke off their supply to the global financial system, and we will once again make America great again. Second, my direct message to the criminals is this. If you fire a bullet at President Donald J. Trump, or if you fire a bullet at me, Gary Barve, fighting for my and our great United States of America, I believe, and I believe President Trump also believes, it is not our responsibility to duck from the bullet. It is the bullet's responsibility to miss us. And third, I said what I said earlier, Cheryl and George. I said, Jesus Christ is with President Trump. Jesus Christ is with our country, the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. And Jesus Christ is with our great American people. And he's going to win the election. And he's going to save America. And like I said, he won, and he won big.
Yep.
And so there was also the raid of the Mar-a-Lago. And, that was just divine intervention. President Trump won because he's a big Christian, because Jesus Christ is with him, and he's a fighter. That man's a fighter. And, America's back, like he said during the joint session of Congress very recently. America is back. And I'm very happy to be his biggest, most loyal supporter in the country.
And you're not just saying like, oh, you filed paperwork to run for president.
That is correct.
I just want people to know that, like,
yes,
you're for real. You're not just like a pipe dream.
Not at all. I think pipe dreams, I don't know exactly what pipe dreams means, but dreams are good, right? Dreams, like President Trump says, dreams are free. And, but I think a very important thing that I would like to encourage all young people, senior people, our youth has tremendous potential in America. I'll say that. So do our seniors. I will say, if you have a dream, a productive dream, take action. Take action. Go ahead and actually walk towards achieving that dream. That'll make you very happy in life. I think that's a very important thing. But you're right. I filed my initial paperwork with the FEC, Federal Elections Commission, on September 5th, 2024, in the previous election cycle. Mm-hmm. And, I've campaigned all over the country.
Is that like the earliest that you can do it? Or
no,
like, I think how does that work?
Well, I think you can file your paperwork. Don't quote me on it. I'm not a subject matter expert on this, but I know on September 5th, 2024, you can file for office. I think, I filed my Form 1, Form 2, officially became a candidate. And, I was in Iowa at that time. And, there are a lot of great American farmers in Iowa. And, I've campaigned in Iowa. I've campaigned in Florida. I spoke at an event that Charlie Kirk spoke at. Well, I spoke 1 or 2 lines about my campaign at an event that Charlie Kirk spoke at in Florida. I've campaigned in Michigan. I've campaigned in Minnesota. I've campaigned in
You're-
Nevada,
You're
and obviously
campaigning
in
at
Arizona.
AmFest,
I was
which
at
is not
AmFest.
just in Arizona, but like everyone comes here for that, so it's a big. You know, a
Definitely,
big event
definitely.
there.
And I met Cheryl at AmFest as well, and I'm very happy to be interviewing with you, Cheryl. I'm very happy to be interviewing with you.
You said
George.
you were at CPAC too.
I was at CPAC. I've interviewed with my friend Michael Carter with Newsmax. That interview has not gone live yet on Newsmax, but hopefully it'll go live soon. He's a very good friend of mine, Mike Carter. Rob Finnerty, who has got Finnerty Primetime with Newsmax, said he's going to invite me to his studio in New York. Newsmax, a great channel. RSBN interviewed me, Right Side Broadcasting Network. These are all national networks. And Christina Loren, who's a good friend of mine as well. I think that was my first national interview. I think like 100,000 people saw it live, and I'm sure a lot of
Wow.
people after that as well. And so RSBN, that's Right Side Broadcasting Network, was a tremendous channel as well. And I interviewed with the Epoch Times with Jen Garcia. So the Epoch Times, great news channel and news publication as well. And they have the English group and the Espanol group. I interviewed with my friend Jen Garcia. I think that's a tremendous interview. I think with the Espanol division, and it went, the post about the interview, it was a video interview, probably 15 minutes about interview. The post about it went to, I think, about 6 million people.
Wow.
And so the name recognition is really very high. And I was at
Climbing.
Gutfeld as well recently with Fox News. And Gutfeld's a good guy. I think he's got a good heart, Gutfeld. And I was not as a guest on the show, but I was as a member of the audience. I met with some of his team. And I had dinner with my friend John Bachman recently. He has John Bachman now on Newsmax. So I'm not saying this in a pompous capacity, but what I'm saying is tying it back to the previous statement that I made. When I filed my initial paperwork with the FEC on September 5th, 2024, I had run for city council in Santa Clara, and I'd run for U.S. Congress in the 23rd District in Florida. When it came to national name recognition, I did not have the national name recognition, pretty much I would say at all. But I work about 90 hours a week, George, as I was saying to you earlier.
Yeah, 90 hours.
90 hours a week. I love what I do. As President Trump says, you have to love what you do in your career, in your life. And I love serving our country. I want to be the 48th President of the United States of America. And not just for some power grab. I want to be the 48th President of the United States of America to serve our American people and to make America great again, keep America great, and save America. And so, it's been a tremendous, so I am most definitely a legitimate candidate. I would say I'm dominating the 2028 presidential election cycle right now. In fact, some of the names that I took on the Democrat side, I would take some names on the Republican side. Ron DeSanctimonious, very disloyal to President Trump. Nikki Birdbrain Haley, and opportunistic rhino, weak little Vivek. I'm talking about Vivek Ramaswamy. Anyone, Glenn Youngkin, Chris Christie, Carrie Lake, Mike Pence, any one of these people, if you want to file for office, go ahead and do it right now, because I want opposition, because I'm dominating the 2028 presidential election cycle right now. So if you sit on your heels, I'm going to take it away even before you get into the election. So file right now. I'm looking for opposition. So
what about for people who would say, well, the next Republican candidate has got to be the current vice president? And I'm not asking you to bash JD Vance or anything.
You don't have to ask me to do that. I will do that right now
I just
politically.
want to know, what do you say to someone, not bashing them, but to say, this is why, just because he's VP right now, you should still vote for me?
That's a great question. That's actually one of the reasons why they should vote for me for president. So I'll say this, right? I've called JD Vance a doofus. No, I have. I've called him a doofus. I'm talking about the existing vice president of the United States of America, JD Vance. I've called him a doofus. I've called him docile, cheeks, beta male. And look, I support President Trump's decision to select JD Vance as his vice president. Nothing against that decision. I love President Trump. I support that decision. But look, Cheryl, you need a certain type of personality to be president of the United States of America, and you need a certain type of personality to be vice president of the United States of America. President Donald J. Trump has that I am president of the United States of America ability that I believe I have as well. And he has that alpha male personality, which JD Vance does not have.
But you can't bash the current vice president of the United States. You're a Republican.
I just did that. I did that very strongly.
And you can't bash what's it? The other Indian that's now running for governor,
Vivek.
Vivek. You can't.
You mean opportunistic rhino?
But you can't bash a current Republican that are holding office or who have held office, unless you're running against them for president at the time. Then you could stand on a stage and go, well, I don't agree with him and blah, blah, blah. But these people, like the Vice President of the United States, they deserve respect.
Well,
he is our Vice President under President Donald J. Trump.
That is correct.
So he deserves our respect as the Vice President of the United States of America.
Well, let me respond to that.
Saying.
I understand, George. Look, I respect your viewpoint. I respect your opinion. But look, let me respond to what you just said. All right. So look, this is an election, the 2028 presidential election of all the elections in the next 4 years is the most important election. Now, I respect all elections, right? City council, town council, school board. State elections, federal elections, Congress, Senate. I respect all elections. I think every election is very important. Don't get me wrong. In fact, I feel some of the elections I mentioned are closer to the people in a certain way. But the 2028 presidential election is, in my opinion, the most important election because it has tremendous impact on the American people and the rest of the world. And so it's very simple. Look, J.D. Vance, I believe, will potentially run against me in the 2028 presidential election cycle.
And he will.
And I'm going to, hold on, my friend. So I'm going to knock him out of the election on the political stage, and not just him, everyone. You talked opportunistic rhino, weak little Vivek, J.D. Vance. Look, I'll say this. I'll appease you a little bit. I'll say this.
But you're putting yourself at a lower level when you're attacking these people, and these people haven't even said they're going to run for office yet.
Correct.
They're Republicans in the Republican Party.
Yes.
Now, if they make a mistake and they do something, then you call them out for it. But you don't disparage them. They ran hard for what they have or the position that they have. They're respected in the Republican Party unless they make a mistake, and Republicans will tell them right in the screen.
Well, I am telling them right on the screen right now.
You can't disparage them now.
I think
we're
what
in
you mean,
2025.
my friend George.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. The election started. Let me say this, my friend.
But you're
Look,
making enemies.
I think you said no. I understand. I am making a lot of enemies, and I like that. I'm also making a lot of friends. But I'll say this. Look, you said you cannot say something against J.D. Vance or cannot say something against opportunistic rhino, weak little Vivek. I think what you mean to say is you do not want me, or you would prefer it if I do not say it. It's free speech. I can say whatever I want against these elected officials, or in some people's case, they're not elected officials. I can say whatever I want. I'm running for office. I'm running for president of the United States of America in the 2028 election as the Republican supporter of the greatest and the 47th president of the United States of America. And so I want to complete my thought about J.D. Vance, though. And I hope you put this on your show, because look, I said a few things, right? I called J.D. Vance a doofus. I called him docile cheeks beta male. And look, I call him docile beta male because he sort of stays in the background. And for the sake of the country, my friend George, for the sake of the country, I hope J.D. Vance becomes a great vice president. But I do call him, I hope so. Under the leadership of the man, President Donald J. Trump, I think that's a great possibility. But I'll say this. I call him docile cheeks beta male. And docile and beta male, I think, is pretty straightforward. I call him cheeks beta male. And I sort of say this tongue in cheek. I call him cheeks beta male, George, because I believe J.D. Vance is conscious about his big cheeks. And he covers it up with his beard. And, I sort of said this on the Jeff and Bill show recently as well. I said, if you look at some of the videos that J.D. Vance from the previous years when he did not have the beard, it looks like he has 2, 3, 4 pomegranates in his mouth, and that's sort of a perpetual situation for him. But look, I'm going to knock these people out of the election politically, and I'll say this. If they endorse me for president, I potentially will be great friends with them, because that's how it works. I want to knock them out of the election because I believe I'm the right man to lead the country.
I totally agree that not every personality is fit for president. And I also agree that just because Donald Trump picks someone as his vice president, I don't think there's a MAGA person alive who is like, well, he picked Mike Pence, so let's vote for him, right? So just because he originally picked someone as president, you're right, that doesn't automatically mean that they should be heir apparent.
Thank you.
And I do think that there are different personalities. Not every vice presidential personality would be a great leadership. But you need your vice president to be supportive, and a lot of times that means a little bit of like attack dog mode. I know that Trump doesn't really need an attack dog because he says it, you know.
Well, I wouldn't use the term attack dog. I mean, President Trump, I would say, is the 47th president of the United States of America. He's the alpha male, President Trump.
Right. He doesn't.
Donald
So
J.
he
Trump
doesn't
is
need
President
that
Trump
in
is
a
the
vice
alpha male.
president. Right.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think he
And
does.
you know, that's an interesting point. I just want to give a quick statistic, my friend, to respond to what Cheryl said with respect. I did a little bit of research, right? And I'm not a statistics kind of a guy when it comes to interviews and speeches and things like that. But I'll say this. I did a little bit of research, and I think there are only 6 vice presidents in the history of our country who have actually gone on to become president of the United States of America by winning their own election. And there's a reason for that. Vice presidents are vice presidents for a reason. Presidents are presidents for a reason. And I'm talking about J.D. Vance. He does not have the personality to win the election. And I'll end it with this, and I'm going to answer your question, sir, as well. I'll say this. If J.D. Vance decides to run in the 2028 presidential election cycle, the moment J.D. Vance announces that he's running, that's when his slide from the apparent frontrunner status will come to an end or begin to come to an end. And, I just hope he has some cushions at the bottom of that slide. I don't want him to get hurt. And I know he's not my biggest fan. I always wanted to say that. But that's okay. That's okay. That's the way it works. Like I said, I believe I'm the right man to lead the country as the biggest supporter and the most loyal supporter of the greatest and the 47th president of the United States of America.
Okay, so if
Donald J.
somebody
Trump.
likes what you have to say or they want to hear more about you, where on social media should they reach out to you? Are you on X? Are you have a website? What's the best way?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate it. So my campaign website is www.garybarveforamerica.com. It's spelled Gary. Barve is spelled B as in boy, A as in America, R as in Republican, V as in victory, E as in elephant, FOR America.com. And I am on X.com. I am also on Facebook. I have a campaign Facebook page. And I have Truth Social, which is President Donald J. Trump's social media.
Are you on Rumble?
I am not on Rumble in an active capacity at all. I don't think I have an account on Rumble, to be very honest. That is official campaign account. But I am on X.com, Facebook campaign page, and also on Truth Social and my campaign website.
Do you follow me on X?
I don't know if I follow you on X, but I know I'm very good friends with Cheryl. I connected with her after America Fest, and she said, I said, could I please get the honor and opportunity to interview with the Chips and Salsa show? And she graciously gave me that opportunity, and I really appreciate you for that, Cheryl. And also you, George. I know you wanted to ask me a question. I want to honor that. Yes, sir.
Okay, you have to run in Arizona. You have to win Arizona.
Yes, I will win Arizona.
The way you're talking, you're not going to win Arizona. I'll tell you that right now. I'm a LD first vice chair.
Yes, sir.
She's an LD first vice chair.
Yes.
We are PCs also,
yes,
and we're
sir.
State PCs.
Yes.
And she's a member at large. We have a lot of pull in the Republican Party.
Yes.
All the state MALs do, all
Correct.
the state PCs. You're not even a state PC. So you have to understand, you got to win California.
But again,
let me. I want to
well,
say.
you're talking about Arizona, but
Cheryl, I want to give a President Donald J. Trump quote right here to respond to what you said. He says in a video, the more people tell you it's not possible, the more absolutely determined you should be to prove them wrong. And people have been saying this to me, Gary, you're running for president. How are you going to make it happen? The more people tell me this, the more determined I am to win this election. So I appreciate you for that, my friend George. And I'll say this. I think I've got a great shot at winning this presidential election. The momentum is with my campaign in a way like you wouldn't even believe it. And I'm on the Chips and Salsa show, which is George. You founded the show, sir. And he did give me the honor and an opportunity to be on his show, and I really appreciate you for that, sir. And obviously appreciate you for your friendship also, and for giving me the honor and opportunity to be on the Chips and Salsa show, and for your friendship as well, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
we thank you for being on our show.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank
George.
you.
Appreciate it. I'm just going to say this. I say this at the end of many of my speeches. We are one nation under God, and in God we trust. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America, the greatest country on earth. Thank you, and let's win this. My name is Gary Barve, and I'm officially running for President of the United States of America in the 2028 election as a Republican supporter of the greatest and the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
and we appreciate you joining us for some politics and some chips and salsa.
Yes, I'm going to have some Ariana's salsa and some chips.
Me too.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate you so much. George, appreciate you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you
Eric,
very much.
for broadcasting this. Thank you.